Hey guys, welcome to Rewind Reviews. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be starting a little segment called Trailer Talk, where I'm going to be talking about trailers for upcoming movies. And the first one that we're going to be doing today is Thor: Love and Thunder. This is going to be the fourth movie starring Thor, and it's going to be scheduled for release in July 2022 and stars Chris Hemsworth, Pratt, Bale, Natalie Portman, most of the cast of the Guardians of the Galaxy, Russell Crowe, Tessa Thompson, as well as Taika Waititi and many others. Seeing as though the movie's going to be coming out in July, I'm actually quite surprised why the teaser trailer's taking this long to actually be released, because it's 3 months away. I honestly was convinced that this movie was going to get delayed, and I thought that it was going to get pushed to maybe September and take over Black Panther's place, but no, I'm genuinely glad that it is coming out when it is. Taika Waititi's back in the director's chair, and honestly I think it's great that he's getting to come back and actually do something a bit more with this world, because I think most people that I tend to talk to when it comes to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, majority of them usually put Thor Ragnarok in the top 5, and that was the last movie that he was taking part in. So it is great seeing that he is going to be coming back, and he is going to be injecting a lot more comedy into this franchise. With Moon Knight and Doctor Strange, which is the most recent MCU projects coming out, taking more of a more serious tone as well as a more of a horror approach. It is really nice that we are starting to get a bit of a balance, because we've also got Miss Marvel, which is going to be coming out in June. Both of that and Thor seems to be going for much more of a lighter tone rather than Moon Knight and Doctor Strange, so it is nice that we are getting a balance of everything. I also think it's kind of fun that we are going to be getting to see what Taika Waititi does with the Guardians of the Galaxy, because if you remember when James Gunn was fired by Disney before being rehired later on, most of us fans were thinking that who could take over the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise. Most of us thought that Taika Waititi would actually be a really good choice for it, considering his style. So it is going to be really great actually getting to see his version of the Guardians as well, and this is going to be the last time that we see them before the Christmas special and the Halloween special in the MCU. Sounds fun. So I'm not really planning on going too in depth on this. This is literally just going to be a few things that I've just noticed here and there, so I'm not going to be doing these amazing fan theories or anything like that. I like to try and just go into a movie and try and enjoy it. I mean, fan theories can be good and they can be fun, especially for people who are excited for it, but I do feel like it can have a bit of a degrading nature to it, because if you remember what happened with things like WandaVision and obviously Spider-Man No Way Home, there was a lot of theories and fan theories around what those two projects were going to be, and one of them turned out to be correct and absolutely blew everyone's minds. The other one, a lot of the theories turned out to be wrong, and majority of the people that I know who are theorising all these different ideas were really disappointed with that show. So honestly, I'm not going into this with any real sort of expectations. I'm just hoping it's a really good movie, so I also encourage you guys to do the same. So straight from the off we get a really great little montage of Thor growing up over the years, and we even get a really great glimpse of his old 1960s costumes, the 616 uniforms. I'm genuinely amazed that they are managing to sneak these costumes in, because Phase 4 of the MCU, they have absolutely nailed the costumes. We've had things like the Scarlet Witch costume and the Vision, we've got the brand new Spider-Man costume, we've got the Moon Knight suit, we've got a pretty great take on the Miss Marvel costume as well. I'm really glad that they are really starting to embrace a lot more of the comic accurate costumes. It really does elevate this series into something else, and it's really saying a lot, because initially when the MCU started, it was kept quite grounded, or as grounded as possible, with everything trying to be at least mostly believable. And now we're at a point where we've got Egyptian gods and these really ridiculous costumes and all sorts, and it's genuinely great that we are starting to see more of this comic accurate side starting to come into a live action medium. And on top of that, we've also got a few new costumes for Thor as well. He's got this blue and gold arm, which actually kind of looks quite nice. We have seen a few little toy leaks here and there, which I'm not going to spoil for you if you aren't aware of it. It does look good. I do like the look of it. Also, I think it's pretty cool that we are getting a bit more of a Viking-y sort of look to him as well, with the big fur coat. So it genuinely does look great. Plus, we've also got Thor in his little jacket. It looks really similar to things like Thunderstrike. So I don't know if it's meant to be a reference to that or not. And on top of that, one thing that everyone said that they really wanted to see is a really cheesy 80s training montage with Thor getting back in shape, and it looks like we really are actually going to get it. He's got the big chains and he's working out in front of King Kong. He's got his little Avengers hat as well with the old 60s logo on it. Honestly, visually, the movie genuinely does look like it's going to be really good. There's so many shots that are directly out of the comics. I am a fan of these characters. I am a fan of the universe. I'm not the most in-depth when it comes to knowledge on comic books outside of things like Spider-Man and characters like that. It is great actually seeing fans actually getting really on board with this and sharing a lot of these panels, and I'm getting to see like where a lot of the inspiration's coming from. So I am genuinely impressed how accurate some of these shots actually are. You know, I did like how visual both the first two Thor movies were, because you know, they did have a very grounded sort of look to them. They did look very lived in a way, and like the first one was like it's really big, shiny and godlike worlds, which is kind of the idea. But it was really great getting to see a bit more of a colourful side to it as well, with some like more iconic shots being thrown in. I feel like that's being continued in this one, so it genuinely does look like it's going to be a really visual movie. And how can I not mention that soundtrack as well, a little bit of Guns N' Roses. I am wondering if that song is actually going to be in the movie, because that is something I have mentioned before. Like if you saw my Batman review, I did mention that we are getting a lot more songs that are appearing in trailers that are starting to make an appearance in the films, because we do tend to associate what music they use in trailers with the movie, so it is great that they are sort of continuing in that. So I do hope that we do get Sweet Child of Mine in the movie. I'm sort of amazed that we've also got like a really early look at Olympus as well. You know, the pantheon of gods within the MCU is really starting to expand now, because we've got so many different backgrounds as well. We've got the Norse gods, we've now got the Egyptian gods, and now Olympus as well. So it is really interesting that we are getting so many different gods within this world. But Olympus genuinely does look really good in this movie, and we also get a really brief glimpse of, I'm assuming it's Zeus, because the lightning bolt, and I believe he's played by Russell Crowe. I am going to be interested to see what they do with him and how they integrate the Greek gods into this. I'm also very curious to see if we potentially may get Hercules. It could happen, it really could. There is a potential that he could make an appearance in this movie, but there's so much going on in it, I don't know if they will. Potentially, if they are going to introduce him, it's more than likely going to be like the post-credit scene, the similar way that they did like Harry Styles in Eternals, which of course does raise the question of who should play him. Honestly, I don't really have much of a preference, because I'm not quite sure who should play this role. I know that Henry Cavill's name has been mentioned a few times. Even though I would like to see Henry Cavill actually be somebody like Hercules, I think that he'd be a really great Captain Britain. If he is part of the MCU, I won't be disappointed. Maybe we'll get a cameo from Percy Jackson. I mean, he's on Disney Plus as well. Hang on, if Percy Jackson makes an appearance in Thor Love and Thunder, does that mean that we are getting a very unofficial first appearance of Deadpool? I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here. If you don't know, the kid who's playing Percy Jackson, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, he played a younger Ryan Reynolds in the Adam Project. That's well worth checking out. But back to this movie. Quite strangely, one notable absence that isn't in this isn't in this trailer is Christian Bale's Gorr. He's supposedly going to be playing the main villain, the God Butcher, and I don't know whereabouts he's going to sort of fit into the story. I think maybe he might fit in with Olympus, maybe he goes to Olympus and earns the title the God Butcher, we don't know. It is strange that we don't actually get any sort of glimpse of him in this movie, considering that he's meant to be the main threat. But this is only a teaser, so I wouldn't really expect them to really sort of do anything like that. I know there have been people who have been mentioning that there is a shot in this trailer that does look like it might have been like digitally removed, like there's a character who might have been digitally removed. I wouldn't rule it out, they have done it several times at this point. Then of course right at the end we finally get the shot that we've been waiting to see, and that is Natalie Portman returning as Jane Foster in full Thor gear. And this is what I mean when I say that the costumes genuinely look good. That is such a good representation of what the comics are. She genuinely does look really good, and it's really buff as well. Like, if you've seen the set pictures of it, she really has bulked up for this. I do have to say I'm a little surprised that she has come back, considering I don't think she really had the best of times when she was in the first two Thor movies, so I don't know what it is that they did to manage to convince her to come back, but I'm glad that they have done that, and I hope that there is a genuinely great reason why she is back. I am curious how accurate they're going to go with her story, because if you're not familiar with the Jane Foster from the comics, her plot line revolving her becoming Thor also involves her developing cancer, and that's a big part of the story, so I don't know how in-depth they're going to go into that, whether they are going to incorporate it. Potentially they will. Also, yes, that is Mjolnir, is the exact same one that Thor had in the first three movies. Don't know how it's back together, whether they use super glue or Pritt stick, or whether E3 was able to put it back together. I'm guessing that the pieces were found where Odin died. I believe that might be the same place that New Asgard is, so maybe the pieces were there and found. I don't know if that means that people can actually lift up the pieces on their own or what. I don't know how the magic's going to work now. But overall, honestly, it genuinely does look like it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope it is a genuinely good movie. Phase 4's been mostly consistent. Most of the movies have been pretty good. The best movie so far that we've had within Phase 4 is No Way Home. But I am appreciating that we are getting a lot more variety as well. We are starting to see more horrors. We are starting to see a bit more like a high school stuff. We're seeing more spies. We're seeing different genres and different styles coming into the MCU. So hopefully this does continue the trend, and I do hope that it is different enough from what we've seen in the past. With Jane Foster now coming into it as a new version of Thor, I do wonder if Chris Hemsworth's going to be staying on after this. It does seem like this could be the last time we see him, the way that the trailer sort of plays out with him finding peace. So I don't know. I hope he does stay on, because I genuinely do love him in the role, and he does really bring something unique to the MCU. That being said, I am wondering if we are going to see Beta Ray Bill one day. It seems like we could get that one day. There's been references in Ragnarok, he's carrying Stormbreaker. We could get him one day, but we won't know until eventually he appears. So that's all I've got to say today. What did you think of the trailer? Did you like it? Are you looking forward to the movie? Do you have any theories about what you think the movie's going to do? Let me know down in the comments. Please like, please subscribe. I'd love to hear from you as well if you want to comment anything. Do you have any suggestions for movies that you want me to have a look at? That's really it for today's trailer talk, so thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. See ya.